Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on episode 3 of the Scooch podcast. I'm your host, skrillydee, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Joe Man 97.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
That's him. So, here we are again, alive from last episode. We did it. We survived another week.
I was literally about to say that.
We went through the trenches. We dug up movies and film. Nah, we actually just watched the me personally, I just watched the one film that I recommended in the last episode.
You literally just watched it?
No, I meant like that's the only piece of cinema I've seen in the past week. I haven't watched anything else. I don't know about you.
Jeez.
What?
I watch something usually every day, at least one. Try to, anyways.
I might start doing that actually. That's a good idea to help me get some more suggestions in my brain to do for Scooch. So yeah, here we are again. Thank you for joining us. It's early morn, so my brain is still smooth. I still have a smooth brain at this hour, but I have a cup of Joe with Joe, and we're ready to get started on today's episode. Actually, in some other news, Joseph, have you heard? You know Denny Masterson, right?
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know. I've never watched that 70s show, but yeah, I heard.
Oh, you never watched it?
Nope.
He's also in The Ranch.
I watched like a couple of. I haven't seen The Ranch. I watched like a couple of clips here and there of that 70s show, but I never watched a full episode.
Yeah, and it's kind of devastating because one, I love that 70s show, and two, I thought the Ranch was pretty good from what I've seen. I think I saw like the first 3 seasons, and it's it has that usual sitcom kind of cheesiness that every sitcom tends to have, but it's all around enjoyable. But yeah, apparently these, I don't want to say because it's such a strong word, but all of this happened during the filming of that 70s show, so that kind of makes...
Oh, it happened during the film?
Yeah, it was from 2000. It wasn't like on set or anything, but yeah, it happened to span from 2001 to 2004.
Oh, that part I didn't know.
Yeah, and I think the show started in 99, ended in 2006.
Yeah, decent run.
Yeah. Which honestly, okay, that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about that 70s show. But I was just gonna say the last season could have not existed at all. So that last year was kind of... Anyway, here we are. The off-topic podcast. We just talk about other stuff than the task at hand. What are we reviewing again? It was like Grown Ups 3 or something.
Yeah, may as well have been.
No, this movie is nothing like
Grown Ups 3, the later years.
How dare you even compare this to Grown Ups? Today we're talking about Uncut Gems, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I initially saw this movie around the time it came out, not like exactly, but like a month after it came out. But I rewatched it again just to freshen my memory on it. And I have to say, I don't know if I was like unconscious or something for the first 5 minutes of my initial viewing, because watching this again, the first 5 minutes, I have no recollection of it. So I was like, is there like an alternate version or like an extended cut that was on Netflix? Because like I said, the first 5 minutes were just like, I have no recollection of it. So I looked online, and I think there was like an extended cut viewing, but there's no like official like 2 different versions. So I guess I was just unconscious for the first 5 minutes of my initial viewing. But yeah, that's an interesting story. Do you want to kind of start off with your thoughts, or I think I should go first, since it's my.
Well, you go first. You're the one that recommended it.
So let me just say, off the bat, I love this movie. I love Adam Sandler's portrayal of Howard, our main character. He does such a great job, and you could tell he's not really made to be a likable character. Like, just from, it feels like based purely off like reading the script about who Howard is. But Adam Sandler just brings that charm that he normally does to any role, and he makes this unlikable character still likable. Like, he's a pretty crappy person, but you still root him on. You know, you still want to see Howard as a character succeed through all the shenanigans he gets through. He's just like, I wouldn't say he's like a terrible person, but he's not good with money, and he has loan sharks after him. He gambles constantly. He gets the thrill of gambling, and you know, he just chases that rush. And like, you'll see in the film as we discuss it, you know, he gets Kevin Garnett's ring and put interest on that, and just all this stuff I have to sort of replay in my mind. So I think we should do like a synopsis of this so I could remember better. So we start off, you know, in 2012, New York City, Howard owns this jewelry store, and one of his I wouldn't know what you would call this guy. What's this actor's name that plays in Get Out and Death Note movie and various others? I forgot his name.
I don't know anybody that was in this movie and Get Out.
Yeah, you remember the guy who was hypnotized? The black guy, that, you remember when they brought all the old white people to the party, and the guy with the hat?
But I don't remember him. Who was he in this movie?
He was
he the that friend of that Kevin?
Yeah, you know, where he,
what's his face?
Yeah, with the watches.
I didn't realize that was. You sure that's him?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure that's him.
Okay, yeah. That now that yeah.
Well, anyway, I don't know what you would call him, but he brings.
He was also in freaking Knives Out too. I didn't realize that.
He brings in Kevin Garnett. Shoot. And Addie Sandy, or Howard, he ordered this. I don't know if he ordered it. Like, I don't know the whole process of him getting this gem. What's it called? It's like, was it the blue opal or the black opal?
I thought it was red.
That's the common one. It's not really rare.
Sure.
Well, he gets this opal from Ethiopia, and it took 17 months to get in, and it comes in around the same time Kevin Garnett comes in, and he shows it off to Kevin, but it's not for sale because he's going to have it for auction. But, you know, Kevin Garnett gets like this sort of power from holding the gem or the stone or what have you, and yeah, he lets Kevin Garnett borrow it, but he wants to make sure that he's good for it, so he takes his championship ring. I think that it was his championship ring. And where else do we come into the story? Feel free to butt in if I'm missing anything, or
I'll just wait until you're finished.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it, Like, I forget what happens next.
Oh, trust me, there's a reason I'm waiting.
Oh, and now I'm really interested in what you have to say.
Just keep talking.
Actually, with my smooth brain, let me kind of pull up a summary so I could remember.
Go to Wikipedia, read the summary there.
Whoa. We don't do Wikipedia on this show, bro.
Go to IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, maybe even Google. Just Google it.
I'm gonna Bing it, actually.
Wow.
So,
I mean, you said you love this movie. I figured you should be able to make a little
Right. His name is Manny. It's early in the morning, man. I told you I still have a smooth brain. That's right. His name was Manny, and he brings in Kevin Garnett, and Kevin has a game that night. So, Howard agrees to give him the stone. Howard then pawns the ring and places a 6-way parlay on Garnett. So he places a bet. I remember, and he wins $600,000 apparently. But Arno and his guys, Phil and Nico, called off the bet from Gary. So he lost that $600K. And yeah, they lock Howard in his car. And okay, so let's talk about the relationship Howard has with his family. So you can see
him and Elsa.
Huh?
Him and Elsa.
Elsa. Who's Elsa?
Frozen.
What does she have to do with this?
You didn't catch it. His ex-wife is played by the Idina Menzel who voiced Elsa.
Oh, I had no idea. So you could tell.
Or if you ask John Travolta, Adele Nazim.
You could tell, they've drifted apart. It doesn't really say how long, but they haven't told their kids yet that they're getting a divorce. And he has a pretty good relationship with his sons, I'd say, especially with his older one. But it seems like they only share like the love of basketball together. And then it seems like he doesn't have
to be honest, I only remember him having a daughter. I don't remember him having a son.
What?
I don't remember him having a son. I remember him having a daughter.
He has 2 sons. How do you not remember that?
Does he not have a daughter?
Yeah, he has a daughter.
Yeah, the daughter was the only one I remember.
Well, he doesn't have the best relationship with his daughter. You can see that his daughter pretty much resents him.
I only remember that because of the play. That's all I remember.
Yeah, pretty much resents him.
As far as the kids go.
Wait, did you not pay attention? He has 2 sons. You remember the son goes with him to the apartment to use the bathroom, and they watch the game together.
What I'm basically saying is they were just there, Noah. They weren't really anything special.
I mean, the family
They were just kids.
Yeah, but so was the girl.
I'm not saying her character I remember. I'm talking about her being in that play I remember. Because of what happened at the play.
Right, but I mean, family, the family plays a part in the story, not in a big way, but just like, thematically, like, Anyway, moving on. So that's the whole family dynamic they have. Howard then meets up with Manny at the weekend party, and that's one thing I love about this movie. It feels so real how the dialogue goes, because everyone's just like yelling over each other to get their point across and stuff. It like the dialogue just seems very natural. And another thing that brings it sort of all together in this realistic world is real world elements. Like Kevin Garnett was playing for the Celtics at the time of 2012. The Weeknd, the artist, just started taking off in 2012. So they go to like this party where, you know, the Weeknd isn't as big, but you know, he's making his rise. So they're at this party, and Domeni says that Garnett still has Opal, you know, and him and Howard get into a fight. And then he finds out that his side piece, well, not really side piece, I guess he's kind of seeing her and the wife knows, or actually, I think it's insinuated that he cheated on his wife, and that's maybe part of why the divorce is happening. But yeah, his wife knows about Julia, so I don't know if it'd be a side piece. I think he's just trying to move on with a different woman. Anyway, he discovers that her and Weeknd are snorting cocaine in the bathroom and seem like they're probably about to get it on, which Howard stops and, you know, just kind of insinuated that Julia was cheating on him. So they get into a fight, you know, and he wants her to move out the apartment. And where else did we leave off in the story? Oh yeah, then they have that Passover dinner, which Arno is the guy who's after, which the guy that Howard owes money to. He has loan sharks after him, but Arno is the step brother. Is it step brother or what's the relation? I know he's a step family member, but I don't remember the actual logistics, and I don't think it's actually said, but he's part of the family technically. And after that, Garnett returns to Opal before the auction and offers $175K down, but you know, Howard swears that it's at least $1 million.
Brother-in-law.
Oh yeah, his brother-in-law. Okay. And then at the auction, Howard discovers the Opal has been appraised for significantly less. So yeah, he thinks his gem is like.
This sounds like you're just reading the plot by plot.
Well, yeah, I pulled up the plot like we discussed earlier. I mean, I'm not saying it verbatim. I'm just going off some notes here. But yeah, he thinks that this gem is like $3,000 a carat, and I forget how many carats he thinks is in it. But he thinks it's at least $1 million, which is questionable throughout this whole film because you never really know how much. Like he says he paid $100,000 for the gem, but you don't actually know how much he paid for it, and you don't actually know what the actual worth of this gem is. But from the auction has like this really professional, what would you call it? Anyway, but they think it's like at most like quarter million. So it's probably that. It's probably not at least $1 million. But then they go to the auction and he convinces his father-in-law to raise the price up to $250 because he thinks Garnett is gonna, you know, he's a wealthy basketball player, so he thinks he's gonna auction higher. But nope. So his father-in-law has the gem now, the money, and nearing the end of the story here. Oh yeah, so Garnett still wants to purchase the Opal, but yeah, so he gets the money, and at this point you're like, oh man, he has the money finally to pay off his brother Arno. He has the money right there, but he has this discussion with Kevin Garnett. You know, he places a bet, so he gives $165,000 to Julia to place a bet on it. When he could have just like ended all the loan shark after him, just paying it off there, but you know, his character has a gambling addiction and he just can't stop gambling, or he's for the thrill of betting, all that, yada yada. So he when he's buzzing the Arno and his men out, he decides to lock them in, so they don't go after Julia, and they watch the game together, and he ends up winning over $1 million. I don't remember exactly, but he ends up winning over $1 million, and after that, he lets them out. And I guess there really is no need for a spoiler warning, because I've already pretty much discussed the movie as a whole, plot for plot.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so after that, Howie gets shot in the head, and they ransack his jewelry store, and they also kill Arno. And yeah, and then we zoom in into Adam Sandler's face hole. But it's much more deeper than that. So that's just a plot as a whole. How I feel about this movie, I really love it, man. It's just fast paced. It doesn't let go of you. There's like really no slow moments in this movie. It's constantly gripping you, and it just, I mean, I can't even think of the words right now. This is an off podcast right here. I mean, I like this movie. I think like if I actually really, really like something, it's harder for me to talk about instead of just like crapping on a movie, basically. But yeah, it's just like a character piece about Howard. I feel like a broken record at this point. All I have to say is I really like this movie. Great performance by Adam Sandler. Great performance from everybody. Even Kevin Garnett, I think it was his first time acting. I know it was Julia's character's first time acting as well. A lot of people, I think. But everyone did such a good job and brings this movie to life. It feels like something that could really happen. It's really grounded, which, as you know, when I watch movies, I do like grounded movies a lot, based in reality sort of thing. And yeah. And I think the ending is almost, I would say it's a good ending. Bittersweet for sure, but I would definitely say it's a good ending because they're not after his family anymore. Julia could probably start a new life with all that money. Addie Sandy had the ultimate high of winning and everything going well for him, then lights out, shot instantly to the head. So, he died not in like a panic or like, and he has his gambling addiction, so this would have gone on and on and on to the point where possibly his family could have been in danger, Julia could have been in danger, or killed. So it just ended there with him getting shot alone. So I think that's a good thing, because this would have went on, and it caught, he would have constantly been on this roller coaster of highs and lows. So all the madness just kind of ends here, and I think it's ultimately a good ending. Like, you don't want to see Howard die. You're rooting him on, and honestly, when I first saw it, I was like, man, this sucks. Like, you don't expect your main character to get shot point blank in the face, and I think it was shocking for a lot of people their first viewing, but upon second viewing, I think it really works well, and I wouldn't want it any other way. So those are just my surface level feelings about the movie. What about you, Joe?
Okay. Now, So I'm a huge fan. I really liked Good Time. It surprised the heck out of me, especially with Robert Pattinson. It's one of his movies. I don't know if it was his first that I saw. Uh, that changed my opinion on him as an actor. But it was definitely one of, if not the first time I saw Robert Pattinson actually be a pretty daggone good actor. To the point where I'm excited for him being Batman, which everybody else freaked out saying, "Oh my God, Edward Cullen is gonna be Batman. This is the worst thing ever." Blah 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 blah. But I really liked A Good Time, written and directed also by the Safdie brothers, who also did Uncut Gems.
Was Good Time
so I had
Was Good Time their directorial debut?
That I don't know. You look it up while I'm talking.
All right.
But I really liked Good Time, and so I had very, very high expectations. And with it being, I had very high expectations for Uncut Gems, and with it especially being like 95% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever the heck it is, very high expectations. And I gotta say, I didn't really like it all that much. I thought it was good. I don't hate the movie, but I'm not in the same boat as Noah here with thinking it's anything special. I think Good Time is far superior.
I actually like this one better than Good Time.
Have you seen Good Time?
How am I gonna say I like it better than Good Time if I haven't seen the movie?
I don't know.
Oh, I like this movie more, even though I haven't seen the other one.
I mean, I asked you a while back if you seen it. You said no.
A while back was probably like 2 years ago.
It was not 2 years ago.
Might have been. You don't like time. Time goes by fast these days.
Yeah. But yeah, an argument could be made. I don't know where exactly I stand on it, about who was better, Robert Pattinson in Good Time or Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. But I will say Adam Sandler is undoubtedly probably one of, if not his best performance ever. It's definitely his best performance in years.
Yeah, I would say of the 2010s, definitely.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Maybe... I mean,
what's come out in the 2010s? There you had Grown Ups 2. You had Jackie. Well. No, Grown Ups didn't come out in 2010. I don't think.
I think it did.
I think that was like 2008, 2009.
Let me check.
I mean, you had
Grown Ups is
that. You had Grown Ups 2. I know.
Grown Ups is
it is
2010. Yeah.
All right. But you had Grown Ups 1 and 2. You had Jack and Jill. You had Just Go With It. You had all of his Netflix stuff. That's all I can think of. I'm sure they're like Uncut Gems. Definitely, this isn't really saying all that much, but it's his best performance of the 2010s. If we're going to go with that,
yeah.
Like I said, argument could be made of all time.
Yeah, I think that definitely holds up.
I mean, I'm just looking at his. Yeah, you had Grown Ups 1 and 2, Just Go With It, Jack and Jill, Hotel Transylvania, which I haven't seen, Blended Pixels, Ridiculous Sex, Murder Mystery, which I haven't seen. I haven't seen most of these. I've seen like a bits and pieces, but sheesh. But yeah, it's definitely his most dramatic role in a decade where he was doing nothing but crap comedies.
Yeah.
I've seen like most of his stuff as far as the Grown Ups 1 and 2, Just Go With It, Jack and Jill. I haven't seen the Hotel Transylvanias, which I'm assuming is just a family animated movie. I've seen Pixels. The only ones I haven't seen is the Ridiculous Six Murder Mystery and Mayoritz Stories.
I think that's a
that
more serious film.
Yeah, looking at the poster, it looks like a drama.
I heard he's really good in that one as well.
No, I can't. I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, everybody else was fine. They weren't really all special. They were just pretty much everybody else was one note. They only played one type of character.
Wait, who played one type of character?
You said Kevin. What's the guy's name? Kevin what? Garnett?
The basketball player.
I don't watch basketball.
Well, I mean, like as just like an athlete, like first time acting, I thought he did pretty well. Like,
he was fine. He was just being himself. I felt like,
which
maybe a little dramatized version of himself.
Well, I mean, with acting, you want to seem like a real person as well. Is that fair to say? So I think
yeah, but
did his job well.
I mean, I don't know. It's something about just playing yourself. It just doesn't. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
some people say it's harder acting as yourself than acting as a character or something. I don't.
Well, I don't know firsthand, but I mean, they just had, you know, like The Weeknd and people. I guess, yeah, like, you know, acting as herself just to add some real world element to the movie.
And I'm probably gonna get hate for this. I don't know who The Weeknd is.
I mean, I don't like The Weeknd.
So that part didn't really. Like, I know who. Okay, let me rephrase that for Noah. I've heard of him. I haven't heard his music.
Okay, that's fair to say. But when you say I haven't heard of The Weeknd, that
I mean, heard his music, Noah.
I mean, I know. I'm correcting you.
Okay. I haven't heard.
You probably heard like one or two songs because it's inevitable. Like back in 2015.
I don't know.
Unless
maybe I'm not gonna say yes
unless
or no,
you're just like not around any public area or radio.
I mean, I don't really listen to the radio anymore.
I mean,
I don't either. I got
but...
music on my phone, Bluetooth.
Yeah, I think Joseph has every Weeknd album on his phone.
Yeah, I do. I lied this entire time. So this whole thing is pointless.
Before Joseph continues, here is a word from our sponsor. Are you looking or have the drive to create your very own podcast? Does it seem like a tedious task or just a dream you have to work your way up through the ranks just to get to? Well, look no further. Thankfully, there's Anchor. Anchor is a totally free site and application that will get your podcast going from the ground up. There's plenty of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. Also, you can make money from your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Make sure to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, we are back to the second part of the podcast. We were just talking about how much Joseph loves Weeknd, and I think we're just gonna let's just let Joseph finish what little thought he had.
A little thought. Wow, that feels
his little wrong opinion about the movie.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
I know you're not saying that.
Okay.
Like
I mean, I don't know. Hang on, I'm looking up because this was also A24, which
yeah,
A24 does some out there movies.
Yeah, which I think is good.
Like they do some unconventional
yeah,
movies.
right.
I'm trying to.
And I think that's really good for cinema. Speaking of,
I'm just looking up all of their movies. I haven't even seen what the.
well, what is it?
Oh, this is television. Jeez,
Oh.
I was like, I've never heard of any of these.
Well, Joseph's going
Sheesh.
Joseph's going off on his little, in his own little world. Speaking of,
I'm looking up A24 movies to see like
the Lighthouse,
how they compare. And like there's like I'm just going in like in order of release date of which ones I've seen. I've seen Spring Breakers. I've seen Ex Machina, which I didn't know that was an A24 movie. Room, The Witch, Green Room, Moonlight, Good Time. The Disaster Artist is A24?
I guess so. I love that movie as well. I think A24 is doing.
I haven't seen it.
I think A24 is doing a bang up job, honestly. As a
Hereditary, Midsummer, The Lighthouse, and Uncut Gems.
Speaking of 2019,
And some of those ones I named didn't. I haven't seen, but whatever.
Speaking of
Alright,
speaking of A24 2019 movies, besides Midsummer, I like this a whole lot more than The Lighthouse.
See, I'm the other way around.
Oh man, The Lighthouse.
I like Lighthouse. I like Lighthouse more.
I think Lighthouse is certainly a more interesting concept that we haven't, that cinema, at least modern cinema, hasn't really explored. It kind of has like a callback to older cinema, but I just felt like it was too artsy fartsy for its own good and just convoluted for the sake of being convoluted and mysterious. You know, like if you have a mystery behind your movie.
Well, that's a Scooge episode for another day.
About The Lighthouse?
I'd
rather not talk about The Lighthouse.
Well, fine, man.
We
Go ahead and talk about it.
We could do a double feature. You want to do a double feature?
I ain't recommending it. I ain't recommending The Lighthouse right now.
Well, I mean, I'm not.
Let's wait a while because we both have seen it pretty recently. Just wait a while and then come back to it.
Okay, I guess Joseph doesn't want to have longer episodes of a double feature. Actually, I would hate the idea of a longer episode. I think hours.
Actually, I haven't seen it at all. Like, it's been. When did it come out?
2019. I don't remember the month.
I think it was like October, November.
It was like that and Uncut Gems are very close together.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very close.
October was Lighthouse. Uncut Gems was December.
Now, I probably do want to see Lighthouse again because just based off my first viewing, I liked it. I thought it was interesting, but
I will say it didn't live up to my expectations.
Yeah,
again, like
yeah,
Uncut
but
Gems.
people are like,
still, I did like it more.
People are like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest piece of cinema ever." It's like,
yeah, I wouldn't have gone that far.
yeah, and
like I said, I
I
still love it more than Uncut Gems.
And honestly,
not by a long shot, but it's just like inches.
I think I just like Uncut Gems better because it's easier to follow. I think if like, I don't know,
it's more of a popcorn movie than The Lighthouse.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you mean by that. What was that thought I had?
Lighthouse, you have to think.
Lighthouse, you have to put the popcorn away. You have to eat brain food.
That's not what that means, but okay.
you have to sip on Go-Gurt while you watch Lighthouse.
Oh God.
This movie is very interesting.
That's some I haven't. Do they even still have that?
I'm pretty sure, man. yogurt's still a thing.
Not yogurt,
I
but
know,
Gogurt.
I know Gogurt, but I'm just saying yogurt is still a thing, so Gogurt probably is as well. What was this thought I had? I had this.
Seen that on the shelves in years.
I had this mind blowing thought. Oh yeah. And honestly, I think people were doing the same to Uncut Gems. Like they were like, "Oh man, this is not." I mean, I haven't heard greatest movie of all time, but certainly like, I don't think it's like, you know.
I was hearing like it should have been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
If anything, it should have been like. I'm not really in tune with like the best original song and score and all that kind of stuff, but with acting and directing and best picture, the only nomination it should have gotten, if anything, Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did this even
Which I don't
have
know
an
who all
original
was
score?
nominated
I think
last
it
year.
just had like music from.
I don't think
other-
it was nominated for anything.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that I don't think this has an
For
original.
Oscars, anyways.
Yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't have an original score. I think it's music from other artists.
Yeah, the original score was composed by Daniel Lopatin.
Well, his score.
That's how you say his last name.
Well, his score is very subtle because I didn't notice any original music, just like music, you know, from other artists. But yeah, people are really hyping up this movie too. And like I said, on initial reaction, I didn't like it as much as I do now. But yeah, like on initial reaction, I'm like, it's not that great. Like I do love Adam Sandler in it, but I think second viewing it grew on me more than my first viewing. I think that kind of applies to all movies, unless it's just like outright terrible from the first get go. I probably do not want to watch it again because. Probably not going to change my minds. But speaking of that, I do wish to see the Lighthouse one more time to gather my thoughts and see if I actually do dislike it, because just initial, you know, reaction, I wouldn't even say I liked it. I would say, or I wouldn't even say that it was okay. I think just initial, I don't like it.
I will say the ending was a little strange.
That whole movie's strange. It's pretty hard to follow. Like if you look away for,
I wouldn't say it's. I mean, that's really any movie though. If you look away, you may be lost.
I don't know. Not like this movie. Not like this movie.
Oh, that's because it's not really that hard, that complicated of a story and stuff going on.
Wait, which movie?
Uncut Gems.
I mean, I wasn't talking about that, but yeah.
Oh, you're talking about this movie is The Lighthouse,
right?
I thought you were saying this movie is Uncut. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably look away for a good 5 minutes and still know exactly what's going on. For talking about the Uncut Gems, of course. But Lighthouse, I feel like you look away 5 minutes and you're like, I mean, even looking at the movie, I felt like I was watching 7 different movies. Like each scene was tonally different. But that's neither here nor there. I guess we'll say that for another time, even though we kind of talked about it at full length. But I think I would be interested to hear Joseph.
You know, I'm looking at the Oscars from this year, and out of the movies, because the best actor noms were Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, who won, Antonio Banderas in Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver Marriage Story, Jonathan Pryce The Two Popes. I haven't seen Pain and Glory, and I haven't seen Two Popes.
Me neither. But I usually don't care about awards, at least anymore. I think I used to be kind of into that stuff.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I think it is interesting to who got the Oscar.
Best Picture.
Who got Best Picture.
Ferrari.
Who did win the Oscar, by the way?
What, for Best Actor?
For 2019, yeah.
You mean 2020?
What? No, I mean for films in 2019.
2019, Uncut Gems hadn't come out yet at the time.
Yeah, it did.
No, it didn't.
Came out December.
So the way the Oscars work is the 2020 Oscars honor the best films of 2019.
Oh, okay.
2019 Oscars for 2018.
That's kind
it's
of
like at the February, like every month or every year. I mean,
it's kind of ass backwards, but okay. But this movie did have a theatrical release in December 2019.
Yeah, it didn't get nominated for anything on Oscars.
Yeah. But who did win for 2020?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. That's fair.
As far as Best Actor goes.
That's fair. But yeah, I think this was a really good movie. I don't think there was any low points for me. I think it kept its pace and this high tension, and like after the movie ends, you kind of feel like you feel pulled out of this world, or out of that world, really. You kind of feel like this weight being lifted off your shoulders, because for me at least, I felt so invested into the character of Howard and just his world as a whole. And I just love the way it's shot and everything. It's just really good, and the dialogue and all that. But I do, don't get me wrong, I do like Good Time a lot, but I feel like there were some slow moments in it for me. But I do like it, and of course Robert Pattinson did an amazing job in it. I wouldn't really, I actually didn't like him that much in The Lighthouse. I know people were praising him and
I thought he was good, and him and Willem Dafoe.
Wait, I do know what I don't like about The Lighthouse. Actually, kind of summed up. It's very Broadway feeling. It doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like I'm watching a theater act. I think that's
okay.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to say. You know what I mean? Because it feels like, just the way they talk.
I don't really agree with it, but like, it's not the most theater-esque movie that I can think of.
In what way? Elaborate on that. Like, do you mean like
Broadway
what seems
theater? Like a movie that seems like a play?
Okay.
Broadway is musicals.
Well, yeah, like, okay, I guess I do a bit of singing, but yeah, not like Broadway, but yeah, just like
I knew what
theater.
you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Broadway is only musicals anyways.
I think you're right.
That's what I associate with Broadway.
Gotcha.
Is musicals. Yeah. I don't agree with that, but sure.
I mean, nobody, I don't even think back in the day anybody acted like that.
I'm sure there were a few.
And I think that, I mean, yeah, it's not a grounded film. It certainly has. I don't know.
It's been a minute since I've seen it, so.
Yeah, I don't know if you would call them fantasy elements, but it's like mirages, I guess, all in his head. And there's like this whole thing, like Willem Dafoe is actually
he's losing their sanities.
Well, like I kind of read into that there's not even a Robert Pattinson, or vice versa. There's not really a Willem Dafoe. It's just like all in his head. Which I don't like that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, you kind of decide what the story is and what it's about. It's like, fuck that shit. Just like give me the story right here, man. I want to watch a movie. I don't want to dissect.
You don't want to think.
No, that's not what I mean. I don't want like some over.
That's what it.
What do I have to think about? Oh, do I really care if Willem Dafoe is 2 people or 1 person? Who wants to think about that? I think that's stupid.
Oh my god. Oh, that's what you mean. That's what it means, though. You don't want to think.
A thinking man's film. Is it the octopus real or is it fake? Let me write a blog post on Reddit. So you don't like
what's a movie you gotta think? I can't think of one. Oh, my mind's drawing blank right now.
I think that's this whole podcast as this episode as a whole. Like my brain, I could not think this entire podcast. Like I couldn't think of what happens in this movie and everything I wanted to discuss. I don't think I actually said everything I wanted to say, but oh well.
Okay, Inception.
Fuck
Memento.
That movie.
Donnie Darko.
Fuck that movie.
Ex Machina, Shutter Island.
What does Ex Machina have to make you think about? I do like Shutter Island, though.
AI.
Oh, okay, elaborate.
You have seen Ex Machina, right?
Yes, I've seen it twice.
Trying to figure out a way to phrase it in a way that doesn't spoil.
But I do like Shutter Island because there is this actual mystery, but I think it's explained pretty well. With the Lighthouse, it's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what was that? Like
with Shutter Island?
Yeah.
I saw it the second time. Actually, I think I've seen it like 3 or 4, maybe. I don't know. But the most recent time I saw it, I actually caught something that I didn't catch the previous times I saw it.
Well, that's good. I think you should commend films for that if you catch upon second viewing. But I feel like with
something you have to think about.
I feel like with the Lighthouse, upon second viewing, I'd be like, I still don't know what's going on. I didn't catch anything new. Like, do you know what's going on in the Lighthouse? Tell me. Do you know what's going on in the Lighthouse? What is going on?
It's been a while since I've seen it.
See, he cannot say. Lighthouse, I feel like it's overblown. I feel like I said,
I feel like Uncut Gems is overblown.
Well, I agree with you there, but at least it's a movie.
The Lighthouse is a movie.
I wouldn't say it's a movie.
Wait, what the frick are you talking about?
I feel like I feel like I was watching a play, honestly, which I'm not a fan of.
I really don't.
It's filmed, but I don't know. It does not feel like a movie.
The Hateful Eight feels like a play.
I haven't seen that. We're not talking about The Hateful Eight.
You haven't seen Hateful Eight?
No.
You're talking about movies that feel like plays. That movie feels like a play. And I love it, but it feels like a play.
Well, I mean,
Lighthouse, I don't
there you go, right there. You
like
love plays, so therefore you love The Lighthouse.
Oh my! I love how you just put words in my mouth.
No, it's not putting words in your mouth. I come to the assumption based on factual evidence that you present me.
I don't know about that. I just looked up movies that feel like plays to get more examples because The Hateful Eight's the only one I could think of. And it says, here are 10 films that could similarly be successful as plays. The Breakfast Club, Phone Booth, 1408.
No. Whatever blog post you're reading, delete it.
I just looked up on Google.
Delete Google. So
okay.
Yeah, I kind of felt like this is a double feature podcast because we talked about The Lighthouse pretty much for 30 minutes and it's been an hour.
Even though like I said, I want to rewatch it. I'm not saying I loved it, but I just like it a little more than Uncut Gems is all.
So
And
you
it's
don't
not
like
like
either of those? I mean,
by a mile. What?
I don't know. For me,
They're fun movies.
okay, what was the best of 2019 then?
The best. Hang on, I got them. Hang on, keep talking. I'm gonna look up everything mostly everything,
All right, but yeah, folks, sorry,
just to make sure I gotta.
sorry for the beginning of this podcast. I just woke up.
Something.
I just woke up recently, and I know that's really no excuse for putting out content, but sorry, like my mind was drawing a blank, and I could not think of the summary of the plot and all the points I wanted to discuss. But ultimately, I think this is a great movie, a great performance by Addie Sandy. And yeah, like Joseph was talking about, it's not a thinking man's movie, which nothing has to be a good movie. And I think a lot of critics think it has to be like a thinking man's movie to be held of any sort of critical acclaim or appraisal. If it's not animated, of course. But yeah, I think it does its job very well. I do like it slightly better than A Good Time. I hope the Sadfi brothers keep it up and bring us something amazing. Also, Joseph, did you know they've had the script since 2009?
Yeah.
Yeah, they wrote this.
I didn't know about the year, but I knew it was for a while.
Yeah, they were days when they were little babies, which is really cool. But yeah, around this time, near the end of the show, before I don't know, maybe we'll do it before we do our scores. Excuse me, before we do our scores or after we do our scores, we'll figure it out. But I want to have like a little Ask Us Anything section where we answer a few questions from viewers. So if you would like, you could leave, if you're watching on YouTube, you could leave your question in the comment section down below. You can also check us out on Twitter at Scooge Podcast. Also, we have a Reddit, Scooge Podcast. Haven't
Facebook.
Yeah, I haven't. I just joined Reddit with Scooge Podcast, so I think you have to be on there for at least a month to create your own subreddit. But once we have our own subreddit up, you could ask us questions there. What's the Facebook? Is it Scooge Podcast as well?
It's just Scooge.
Okay, so also on Facebook, Scooge, you can ask us any question there, and Joseph can send me over the questions. But yeah, around this time, if you want to ask anything, you have YouTube comment section, Twitter, Reddit once we get subreddit up, and Facebook. So ask us anything, and we'll dedicate 5 to 10 minutes of answering your lovely questions.
Seriously, do not agree with that.
What?
I just IndieWire did a post article of the 50 best movies of 2019 according to 304 film critics. Uncut Gems is number 7. And Joker is number 9. Joker, I think, is a far better movie.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, that's just someone's opinion. So I think I kind of did all my talking points for this movie. I think this would have been a much more interesting episode if it was freshly come out. But you know, I think everybody's pretty much seen this movie, so I don't have to kind of explain further my further thoughts. I just think it was a really good movie. I would rate this a 4 out of 5. I say 4 out of 5 on a numerical, but I think I would give this a full Scooge rating. What about you, Joe?
Wow. Yeah, on mine, the 4 out of 5 would be approximately 80%. Me, personally, Like I said, I liked it. I thought it was an average movie. Like, I didn't hate it, didn't like it, didn't hate myself watching it. I wasn't really bored, but I wasn't really on the edge of my seat. 65.
Wow.
65%.
The wrong opinion, everybody.
Well, according to Rotten Tomatoes, that's still fresh. It's a little 3 out of 5.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, yeah, I like your
It's a
rating.
little over 3 out of 5.
I feel like out of 10.
It's just fine.
Yeah. Well, I think fine would be like a 2 out of 5. I think 3 is good, 4 great, 5 perfect. So you're probably more on a 2 out of 5, I would say.
Yeah.
But
2 out of 5, which is about 40% on my scale, is just.
I think
that would be a bad movie. And I wouldn't really call this a bad movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't say 40% is bad. I think it'd be like fine. I think 1 is bad and 0 is just unwatchable. But I think mine is very.
I hardly do zeros.
I think mine is very black and white rating. Like, I don't have like any gray. Like, this was. Anyway. Yeah, make sure to do on that. I don't know. I'm tired. This was a great podcast, right, Joseph? Well,
sure.
What's your recommendation for next week?
Well, I got 2. You let me know. So this is where you'll probably decide. I don't know why, because we try with our suggestions for all of y'all out there. Me and Noah, and when Darius actually starts joining us, he'll do the same, I'm sure. We try to do something that maybe we've seen, but we think the other one may not have.
Yeah, that's
what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that was my concept from the get-go. Like, have a movie we've personally seen, like the person in question who's doing the suggestion, and probably the other 2 haven't seen.
Yeah, so I'm going to say the one I think you may have seen, but I'm not sure.
All right.
My first suggestion, Nightcrawler.
I have seen that.
You have seen Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
Okay. My second
but
suggestion...
I would love to talk about it. I don't mind watching it again. It's been a while.
Yeah, and if we don't do an episode on here, I'm going to do a daggone review on my channel. If we don't do Nightcrawler, another movie which I highly doubt you've seen, The Wrestler.
With what's his name?
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, him. No, I don't think I've seen that.
Okay. So either the next episode, me and Noah will hash this out later.
Could be a double feature.
For the next episode, that'll be strange. The Wrestler and Nightcrawler. Those 2 movies are really nothing alike.
Well, they don't have to be alike.
I mean, both got snubbed at the Oscars, but yeah.
I don't think they have to be alike. I think it'd be kind of interesting to have polar opposites in 2 movies that are pretty similar in tone and thematically. We'll just
not really themes, but yeah. Well, me and Noah will hash that out.
Yeah,
but
could be a double feature. Could be Wrestler. Could be Nightcrawler. Separate.
Yeah, it'll be one of those 2. If not both. I don't know how the both will work out, but like I said, we'll hash that out later. Yeah, those 2. Expect one of those 2, if not both of them, next week.
All right. I think you pretty much know our socials now. Check me out, skrillydee. I'm just on YouTube. I don't do any other social media except for Scooge. Joseph has just about everything. Everything under the sun has JMash97, so go check him out.
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, JMash97, Instagram, JMash_97, because somebody stole my JMash97 tag.
He's also on Grindr.
No, I'm not. Shut up.
JMash97.
Oh, wow. And with my freaking luck, there'll actually be a JMash97 on there. Wow.
He's on Yahoo Answers, Quora.
I haven't even been on Yahoo in years. Is Yahoo still a thing?
Yeah, I think so. If
I don't know anybody that uses Yahoo anymore.
pretty much, if there's a social media, there's a JMash97 on it, so check him out. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.